Hello, Real Life Ministries and Post Falls School District in this sense. As you know, at Real Life Ministries, we have been in partnership, a very special partnership that most of the rest of the country doesn't get because of maybe their political situations or the people that are there. But we are blessed here to be in a school district where we have great partnerships. We do job fairs for the school. We do stuff over there. They do stuff over here. And I just can't. I've been in some of those other states. I've never had it like this, where we're working together for our kids here. And I just love that about our school district. In particular, the Post Falls School District in this case. I'm here with Dina Nacarado. She's the superintendent. And we've had a relationship for years.
Yes,
and
we have.
It's been an honor. And
Likewise.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And we have this levy coming up, and a lot of people that move from the other area of the country, I always get nervous because wherever they came from, usually we have so many political refugees here.
Sure.
Right? They're leaving wherever they came from to come here, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times they don't know that what's going on here isn't where they came from. Now, they're rightly concerned that they want to make sure it never does that.
Right.
Right? But sometimes the way that we respond creates more of a fight rather than going, what's happening here that's good? What can we do? And so what I'm concerned about is you don't know how our system works because it's different than where you came from. And Idaho is unique in the way we do things. And you assume things that are happening here that aren't. And so I want to give Dina the opportunity to share what this levy is about, how it works. You're going to need way more detail. Some of you are total detail people, and they have more information for that.
Yes.
You know me. I want to get to for me, it's about who the person is. Can I trust the details they give me? That's what I care about. You know, you can shape the details any way you want. If unless you have integrity to give me the right details and you're going to be truthful and you're going to live out what you say, the details are secondary to the person and integrity. In this case, I believe Dina about her details, and I believe she's living it out and done it. Not only do I know Dina at that level, we have so many amazing teachers and administrators that that go to our church that are just awesome in our community. So I know what's happening on the inside to know whether it's happening or not happening. So Dina, again, why don't you share a little bit about this levy and how it works?
So this is a replacement levy. We've had a levy on the books in Post Falls for over 30 years, and Idaho code only allows school districts to have levies that expire every year or every 2 years. Right. The exception to that is if you're reliant on 20% or more of your operational funding for 7 years or more, then you could ask for a levy in perpetuity, forever. But this levy represents 11.4% of our operational budget. And one thing I think people don't know who've moved here from other states is the way Idaho funds public schools. So in order for school districts, public school districts in our state, to receive 100% of their operational funds, 100% of the students would need to be present at school 100% of the time. So in our district, we have a 92.6 average daily attendance rate, which means 7.4% of our operational budget is withheld by the state of Idaho because of our funding formula.
Right.
So when you take that 7.4% off, really 4% is what we should be asking our taxpayers for. But because of our state funding formula, we're asking for 11.4%.
Right. Yeah. And so one of the things that people don't get is there's a reason that the levy system has its pros and cons. The con for an educator is I have to go out and do an election of some kind over and over. No educator got into education for that reason.
Correct.
So this isn't fun.
No.
And when it comes to our system, they actually have a reason. I don't know if I agree with it, but they have a reason. They want the local community to be able to speak into how that's happening, how education is happening in their community.
Sure.
So by doing this, what they're trying to do is go, hey, in your community, we want you to approve of how your school is doing. And if you don't approve, of what's happening. You can withhold budget and have a voice in it. Now, so there's pros and cons to that, but it is what it is. That's just how it is here.
Yes.
So you guys have to live with it.
Yes.
And so when you're talking about that 11.4%, there's some misconceptions about that. That it's like it's extra.
This is fundamental.
Yeah.
When you see on the ballot supplemental, that's also an Idaho code,
Yeah.
which makes it harder, especially for the people who are new to our
Right.
area. This is a fundamental levy.
Yeah.
When you consider 7.4% is operational costs, and basically the other part of it covers all extracurricular activities and athletics. We don't receive any money from the state for that. It covers the vast majority of our school safety. We only receive $77,000 from the state
let's
of Idaho.
talk about that.
Okay.
I think all of us are a little bit sick of hearing a school shooter.
100%.
More than ever, we have to protect our places where kids from outsiders, from insiders.
Yep.
So when you're talking about supplemental,
It's fundamental.
it's fundamental. Safety, your kid's safety is fundamental.
100%.
And even for me, I mean, I know some people may disagree with this, but there's only one reason I graduated from high school. I had to make grades to be able to play in sports.
Yep.
And in fact, in my job, what I learned in the sport has shaped who I am in everything I do, whether it's in ministry and life. It wasn't English, right? And people who listen to me talk or write know
Yes.
it wasn't English, right? So, but there's a lot more to it. It's a misconception that it's supplemental.
It's not supplemental. It's
Yeah.
fundamental. And I'll call it fundamental, and I've called it fundamental for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fundamental to everything that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to this vote coming up, I think it's really important for our people to vote for this for a couple different reasons. First, let me just say it this way. I'm for kids and them learning community. I'm for doing whatever we can, and we try to do this in partnership with Post Falls because we care so much about kids and their safety and their education and what that means and a safe environment. We care about that. Now, my kids, I had one kid homeschooled, well, all of them homeschooled at one point. Then they went to public school. Some continued and graduated from public school. Some went to private school. I think all three of those are valid and important. I currently don't have any grandkids. I have 7. I don't have any of them in the public school in Lakeland. I have them in private school, and some are homeschooled. But when the Lakeland levy is going to come up, because I vote there, if I could vote over in Post Falls, I would too.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to vote for the levy in Lakeland, even though my kids and grandkids don't go there, because I have to care about kids that aren't just my kids, right? I have to care about those kids who maybe can't afford private school, or both of them are having to work because of our economy. They can't just homeschool their kids.
Right.
You have to go, and if they're not in education, they don't have supervision, they're not in school of any kind, because they don't have sports because of a levy, or they don't have fundamental things going on at their school, safety, all those things. The cost of them not being there, supervised, educated, is that they're walking the streets with little supervision, too much time on their hands. The downside of in our community of a kid not going to school, having too much time with friends or whatever, involvement in drugs, what's going on.
Sure.
One kid's not in school when they could have been. They're driving when they shouldn't be driving, and they hurt somebody that they wouldn't have hurt had they been in school. I mean, when we choose not to put our kids in school with supervision, good education, good people, it profoundly impacts our entire community.
I
The
agree.
downside of just saying, oh, well, my kids aren't there. No, it impacts our community if even though my kids aren't there, my grandkids aren't there, somebody's kids are, and them being there is good for the community. And
100%.
and so that's why I'm like, hey, folks, you need to vote for this. And some of you may be going, "Hey, I don't trust government officials, and I don't trust." And I agree. There's good and bad, right? There's good and bad. But let me just tell you about the people that we have here. I do trust them. I've looked at the numbers. I graduated with an education degree. 2 of my sisters are in education in the public school system right now. I know what they're saying at the top and what they're living out in their personal lives and what they're living out as teachers and administrators. We have partnership with them all the time. I trust these people. Does that mean they never make a mistake? I don't even trust me never to make a mistake. But I know the people that we have here. Okay. And so I want you to research it out. I want you to think community-minded. I want you to understand that we're talking about the amount of the tax bill for us in the local area. Yeah. It's not that much if we all share it.
No, I mean, I've have a slideshow with my tax bill on it, and basically I have it's valued at $500 and some odd $1,000 home here in Post Falls. My tax bill to the Post Falls School District is $182 a year. So when you consider that's maybe 2 nights out, and I educate 5,800 students, or it's $15 and some change each month, so I just don't subscribe to Netflix or Hulu or pick one, and I've educated 5,800 students. We really are fiscally conservative here, and we only ask for what we absolutely need. So I do feel like if people were to compare the rate of taxes, they will notice that despite our levy remaining on the books, our tax rate has continued to go down. And I think there's a great deal of bang for your buck here in Post Falls, and we need this levy. It's fundamental to everything that we do in the school district.
Yeah. You know, when you're talking about levy, you were talking about how much money comes out of your paycheck or out of your taxes for the school district.
Yeah.
And Idaho is so different.
It is.
I was thinking about the difference even between this side of the state line and the Washington side.
Yes.
Your bill is 182.
Yes.
What would your bill be if you were in a Spokane school district?
So I'll just use, I grew up in the Spokane Valley, so I'll use my parents' tax bill because I take care of my stepdad's finances for him. And so I just paid his first half of his taxes. And he's in one of the Valley school districts over in Spokane. His total tax bill is $4,900 for the year. The school district portion of that is $2,600. $2,600. Mine's $182 here.
And that's why I'm like, okay, guys.
It's mind-blowing.
Idaho is different.
Yes.
So you can't, it's not apples to apples.
No.
And I know even doing a levy, that's, again, I said this, but you didn't get into education to do a election every 2 years.
That wasn't, it didn't used to be a thing, is what I would say. It seems that COVID probably changed things quite a bit for public education across the country, but here in particular, because people used to support the public school system. And since COVID, things have changed, and I don't know if it's mistrust or I don't know what's happened, but it definitely has become a political and a campaign event that takes about 6 months out of my life every 2 years.
I can tell you why I think it happened, but I don't know that's the podcast here. I think as parents, their kids were at home, they were looking at what their kids were learning and how much of it actually had to do with real life and how much of it was craziness from, you know, some of the other areas of the country. They finally figured out what was actually being taught, and I think it just shook them. Like, now again, in Idaho, we did this. It wasn't being taught in Idaho.
No.
We didn't have that.
No.
But people are watching the national news, you know, which is oftentimes highlighting these other areas in the country where that may be happening.
Yeah.
And so we assume. That's why you come in curious.
Yes.
Idaho is a special place.
Yes,
and
it is.
when you come in angry about where you came from, ready for a fight, without first going, is it the same fight? Is the same thing happening? Maybe I come in curious rather than ticked off. Let's see. That doesn't mean there isn't things to change here. This isn't a perfect place.
No.
But, man, there's enough negativity. We don't need to go find it or create it.
No.
So that's that. I'm glad I live here. I'm sorry about the levy say that you have to do that. But
it's okay.
I
It's
like
totally
the
worth
tax
it
bill
for the
here
kids.
rather than Washington
For
in
sure.
many ways better.
For sure.
A lot of things we hear from the government either are skewed or you don't dive into the details. What are some of the misconceptions that you will hear that would have an issue with a levy?
So in 2023, everyone heard that there was record-breaking spending in our state and that every teacher was going to receive $6,359 more per year. Well, in our school district and in our other local school districts, that didn't necessarily happen. And the reason that it didn't happen is because, one, the money came through people who were funded based on the salary-based apportionment, and I don't want to get into the weeds here, but we have people that are funded outside that index. And two, we pay more than the state allocates in the first place. So,
and you have to.
Yes.
Because Idaho, you can't get good people if you can't afford to get paid enough to live in the area you're
yes, 100%. And then last year, we heard about $2 billion to fix aging buildings in the state of Idaho. Well, that's not true. It was $1 billion, and it's spread out among all school districts. We're lucky because we're the 11th largest school district in the state, so we received $23 million. That $23 million is supposed to last us for 10 years, and we lost our lottery money. So that was the money that was earmarked for building maintenance. School districts are not allowed to use this facility money for routine maintenance. So districts that are little, I'll use Avery, for example, they receive $30,000 for 10 years. That's not enough to pave a parking lot. Mm-mm. So there are always these sound bites, but people don't understand that what the headline may say may not be reality for school districts, and it makes it harder.
News and government may not tell you everything.
The whole story,
truthfully?
whole story is sometimes missing.
I'm shocked by that.
It's disappointing. It makes it harder. It does make it harder. Yeah.
You know, Dina, one of the things that blows my mind is the number of people who don't vote in our area. I've always been of the opinion that, you know, we're blessed in America, and it's a sacred right and responsibility. And I really don't like hearing people gripe about the way things are when they don't take responsibility for the part they could be playing.
Well, interesting that you bring that up, because only 19% of our parents have voted in our last two fundamental levy elections, which means that basically 1,000 families are determining the programming for nearly 6,000 students. And it's easy to vote, right? You can sign up, go to the elections website and get an absentee ballot, and it comes to your mailbox. You could vote in your pajamas if you wanted to. Or if you don't want to deal with the crowds on the 20th of May, you can go early vote at the elections office in Coeur d'Alene. It's really easy to vote, and I don't know why it seems to be a barrier for some of our families.
Well, and so I think when you assume somebody else is going to vote, or of course there's enough people. They don't need me, right? I mean, typically the people that are angry about something are the ones who are going to make time for it.
Sure.
And it's the people that are, this is okay, we're all right. They're not maybe spurred on enough to go, no, that needs to be heard too. The only thing, we think the only thing that needs to be heard is our anger or frustration, and that needs to be heard. I'd have more respect for people who went and voted no than didn't vote at all. But I think there's a lot more people that agree that there's no perfect system this side of heaven, but we got it pretty good, and I think we need to say that. We need to do something that proves that. Or our teachers cost. They don't get paid enough. There isn't enough stuff. We lose our best people. We don't have people in there. And we spiral down, and then we complain about it. Right? That's in my view, has got to stop. And I'm hoping it does this season.
Me
this
too.
May.
I would really love it if our parents would get out and vote.
And our grandparents.
Yes, all the people.
Because I care about my grandkids.
100%. I do too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't care about kids.
Yeah. I would just say this, folks. You know me. I got some people that agree with us, some people that don't. I'm going to do the best I can to discern not just the details, but who we're talking about, what kind of people they are. I'm confident in that, who we have here and what they're doing. And I would encourage you to go and vote, to be a person who tries to contribute into the community and look for the good and celebrate it, and rather than find something negative about everything, because we'll find it. We're dealing with people here. We all got issues. But man, the heart here is big, and I appreciate it. So thank you for being willing to come in and speak to our folks. And we'll put on there where you can go and get the detailed information.
Yeah.
And if you're mad at me about this, because somebody's always mad if I'm too political or not political enough, I'm caring about kids. I'm not trying to be political. And you can come and yell at me, but I'm sticking to my guns. This is a good thing. So
schools
I'm
aren't
in.
political.
Yeah, it's not political.
No,
I don't know how all
schools
these
aren't
things became political.
I don't either. I mean, school.
To me, it's more moral than
right.
political.
I mean, public education is a foundation of our democracy.
Yeah.
There's nothing political about it.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this, and we've talked about this over the years, a lot of stuff that's being done nationally and in some of the other cities
does not happen
it's
here.
not happening here.
No,
I know the teachers. I know the curriculum.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean every teacher has all the views you have? Probably not.
No.
But they keep the main thing the main thing. And
Yes.
so I appreciate that about our teachers. And I just want you all to I hope you do this. Whether you disagree or you agree with the levy, you recognize our teachers and administrators, whether they're in a private school or a public school, you recognize they're on the front lines. And it's like, what would it be like if we didn't have people that selfless, willing to get out there and fight for our kids day in, day out in a difficult situation? They're heroes, in my view. So I hope we treat them like that. You may not always agree with the policies, but the people involved here are people that really care, or they wouldn't be in this field because they don't get paid enough for it. So I just want to say, God bless you. I hope you get out there in May and vote yes on this levy. And again, I don't think this is a political issue. I think it's a moral issue. And we need to care and support and minister to our kids. And we have some great teachers on that front line. And we need to support that. So I hope you vote yes in May.